scary, really scary. I fell through when I was a little kid. It didn't have anything to do with ice fishing, but I went all the way under it.
I really enjoyed my conversation with Brian Cody. He talked about his 2 dogs, one of them being a rescue dog, and his passion for animals. He also talked about spending time out on Lake Superior, lots of adventures there with many, many close calls. I think you're going to enjoy hearing from Brian Cody. My guest today is Brian Cody. I'm excited for this conversation, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us, how long have you been at C&G and what you do for us?
I first walked through this door in 2009, September of 2009. I worked here for like a year, I think, and things didn't go well. I left, did a little, helped open up a restaurant. I did that for about a year and a half, and then I came back, and I've been back since. So I've been in this building for 15 plus years or whatever it's been.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting building, isn't it?
It is. It's very interesting.
What was the history of the building up here in Superior, Wisconsin? Was it a pizza?
I started, I believe, as a textile.
It wasn't a pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, they made like frozen pizza.
I thought it was originally like a textile place.
Oh, was it?
And
Okay.
then it got converted to like food, packaging.
Yeah.
I know like Totoni's pizzas or something like that was in here.
Right. I think where they produce the pizzas. But anyway, now it's a state-of-the-art, amazing facility making blown film, and you've been part of that legacy here.
Yeah.
So what do you like to do outside of work?
Outside of work now, I do a lot of fishing. I do some hunting. Yeah, I've got 2 very active dogs, so they keep me busy.
What kind of dogs?
I've got a mutt, a rescue dog, and then I have a purebred boxer.
Now, you're the 3rd guest that I've had on the podcast that has a rescue dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Austin Howard is one of those guests, and Sean Cropina, who works in our Lexington plant, have rescue dogs. Tell me about that. Like, how did you get the rescue dog?
So, I've always been a fan of rescuing dogs instead of getting a purebred. So the bigger part of the story is the only reason why I have a purebred was there's a guy at work here that had a litter of puppies, and so I ended up with a boxer.
Uh-huh.
But I had a German short-haired pointer that was also a rescue dog, and she had passed, and I had this little puppy boxer, and I didn't want her to be by herself, so
Aw.
I went and rescued another one. Yeah, he's a big meathead.
So they're waiting for you at the end of the day when you come home?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, excited to see you.
All the time.
Yeah, very cool. What are their names?
Duke and Layla.
Duke and Layla. Must be a boy and a girl?
Yep.
Look at me. That's a good guess, huh?
Yeah.
So are you married? Do you have any kids?
I have 2 kids. I was married once. I've been divorced. I've been with a woman for about 8 years. Her name is Heather.
Heather.
She's a nurse over in Duluth.
Very nice.
So yeah, we've got a small house. We live right in town. We're looking to maybe move out to the country at some point. But
very cool.
my kids are grown and have their own lives now. I've got 2 beautiful grandsons and another on the way come Christmas. The actual due date is 25th of December.
Oh boy.
So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, I live in Duluth.
So is that where you grew up?
Yes, I grew up in Duluth.
Tell me about growing up. What was it like in your family?
So my mom went to work, I believe, when I was 3rd or 4th grade. So I had 2 working parents, and this was back when they did the whole latchkey thing. My dad was self-employed. My mom went and worked for a county nursing home, and she stayed there. She actually just retired last month. She was there for like 35 years.
Amazing.
So, like growing up, we had to be um, pretty self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
I had an older sister. She was 2 years older, so she was kind of the boss until mom and dad got home.
Is she
Um,
still the boss?
who's that? My
Your
sister?
sister?
No.
Okay. All right.
um, but I no, it was an awesome childhood. We lived in we lived in town, so we had a good neighborhood. The school I went to for grade school was a block and a half away from our house. We had a beautiful park near our house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good childhood. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Was there someone when you were young or maybe even today that inspired you?
Lots of people inspire me.
Okay.
Um, Inspired me towards what?
To become who you are, like someone that, just kind of helped you along the way, kept you going maybe during tough times, has always been there for you.
Um, I have a very, very small circle of friends, and a few of them are very old friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have gone through some pretty tough times in my life.
Yeah.
And I leaned on my toughest times was when I was going through my divorce and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And that was when I got introduced to CNG back when it was charter. Um, and there was a few guys that are still working here today that um, kind of took me under their wing and told me when I was screwing up and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so there's some people in this building that have um, inspired my career here and just helped me live a better lifestyle. Like, not necessarily like getting down on me or anything, but just leading by example. What it takes to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they were there for you during tough
Oh
times
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, this seems like a really close knit group of people
we
on
are.
this shift.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So what do you like to do with your friends when you're not working?
And like I said, we do a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing. More
Mm-hmm.
fishing than anything. I fish
Okay.
all year round. So
So how is it different? Like obviously it's colder, but what's ice fishing like?
for me, it's really easy.
Why is that?
I have an ice castle. It's cheating. So
An
like,
ice castle. Tell
yeah.
me what an ice
So an
castle
ice
is.
castle is a trailer that lowers down to the ice, and it's basically like an RV.
Okay.
So I have three leather sofas in it,
Come on.
a bed. It's super
You
comfy.
have
The dock.
heat.
Oh yes, I have heat.
Uh-huh.
If I hotspot my phone, I've got direct TV. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty easy.
So how do you know if the fish are biting on your pole when you're in your ice castle watching TV?
Sometimes you don't.
Does the fish ever like take the bait and then just run away with your pole?
Not. I don't. I will use poles, and when I'm using a rod, I'm paying attention. But we have rattle reels in there,
Okay.
and so when the fish grabs the line, a bell starts ringing. And then actually, in my house, that I actually bought really expensive ones. They actually light up too. So
Okay.
if it's the middle of the night,
So you
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 can
wake
see.
up?
Yeah, I'll wake up to the bells ringing, and I can see which hole because it lights up. So it's really cheating.
Wow. Yeah, that takes it to a whole new level of
Yeah.
ice fishing.
It's fun, but it's I did a lot of the trudging across the ice all bundled up and freezing, and the older I got, the
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable I wanted to
Yep,
be.
yep. So you still see people out there though doing it the old-fashioned way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll still do it from time to time.
okay. So when you say like the ice castle gets loaded down onto the ice, does it come in like by a big crane or like how does
No, it's
that?
just a trailer. I drive it out there, and then it's on hydraulics, and it just lowers right level to the
Oh,
ice.
I gotcha. Okay. Have you ever fallen through the ice?
Yes.
What was that like?
Scary. Really scary. I fell through when I was a little kid. It didn't have anything to do with ice fishing, but I went all the way under, and it was in a creek that we had near our home.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and I, well, all the kids in the neighborhood, we used to go and play on it when it was frozen. And unfortunately, yeah, both me and my brother went through at two different occasions where it was pretty scary.
So how did you get out?
I don't know.
Don't remember?
I don't really remember because you feel like, well, for one, you feel like you're drowning.
Yes.
Um, and it's a pretty shallow creek, and where I went through is a deeper spot where I would actually, my whole body went under. And I think it was either between me standing up or my brother or whatever friend I was with at the time breaking ice, but I got out.
Yeah. So the friends were there to
Yeah,
help you
yeah,
and pull you
yeah.
out.
And the situation with my brother, I believe I was there on that one, and I think he was there when I went through. So,
So you were there for each other.
yep, cold walk home. It was bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that feels like to go in frozen water.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Mm.
I, and that was not even my worst cold, wet scenario. I actually had hypothermia to the point of I was kind of going crazy at one point, and that was I was smelt fishing on Lake Superior. So you're standing in the spring water in Lake Superior, and the smelt were running, and I got super wet. But because the smelt were running, I didn't get out of the water. I started being foolish. I was pretty young at the time too, so
Did you know you were getting cold?
I knew I
Or
was getting cold. I wanted to help. There was like a few tasks that I was trying to help. There was a group of us there doing it. I was trying to get everything that I needed to do. I don't even remember what it was.
Mhm.
And they weren't done fishing, and I wasn't very far from home, so I decided I was just going to walk home because I'd gotten wet. I'd tripped and fell, and so I was above my waders, and I was all wet. And this would have been, I was probably still in high school at the time, or maybe middle school. Um, and when I got home, the house was locked. Nobody was home. And so I was standing outside, wet, cold, and this is where I was kind of losing my mind. I'd never even thought to knock on a neighbor's door. I just stood
Mhm.
until my mom got home from work.
How long was that?
I don't know. I don't remember. She could see that I was in trouble, so she brought me upstairs, put me in a hot tub of water, I think, and yeah, I was fine. I kept all my fingers and toes, and
Oh my
but
goodness. That
yeah,
was a
it
close
was a
call
close
though.
call. It was a close call. People have died around here for that.
Yeah, no, I've heard stories from others about that, where somebody thinks they can walk home or make it home after they've been maybe drinking,
Yep.
which impairs your judgment and the door's locked when you get home and
Yeah, I had a friend pass last year. He was a friend of mine on my dart team that passed from drinking and wandering around. We don't know why he was wandering, where he was wandering,
yeah.
but yeah, he froze to death.
Yeah, I mean it's serious weather up here in Superior, Wisconsin with the winds coming off Lake Superior
Oh yeah,
and like can be what 30 below, 40
oh
below
yeah,
like
yep.
and
It can be 30 below for 2 weeks straight.
yeah, and is that without the wind chill?
Yeah, that's without the wind chill.
Yeah, and you had that wind on there.
Yeah, it gets
It's
bad.
pretty serious situation. So what's it like in the summer?
Beautiful.
Tell
That's
me
a,
more.
that's the whole reason we're here.
So
Yeah, no,
you
it's
endure the winter to
yeah,
have the
yeah.
summers.
I really enjoy our winters, especially because I found hobbies to do during the winter. But the summer and the fall are absolutely beautiful up here. It's never too hot. Um,
Mhm.
the scenery is amazing. I mean, you don't have to drive 10, 15 minutes and you're looking at a postcard scene.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I really enjoy the outdoors. So, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, it's perfect for me.
Yeah, even though in the winter, which the sunrises here are beautiful,
Hmm.
coming up over Lake Superior, and I would imagine the summertime too.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. And I live up on the hill in Duluth, so I get a good view of the lake and
Oh, sure.
yeah,
Do you ever see those big ocean freighters come in? Like what are the things that come in? Because this is a shipping port too, right?
yeah. Yeah, the 1,000 footers, the big ocean
Yeah.
liners, those are pretty neat. I've
Hmm.
had some pretty close calls with those too.
What do you mean close calls?
Fishing out on the lake. I was fishing in the fog one time and we had one pull up on us.
Mm.
Up in Two Harbors, there's an ore dock. And when it started honking, all of a sudden there's this big maroon wall in front of us.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
that was a close one. And then another time I was actually piloting the boat And I thought I was staying clear. And when we're fishing out on Lake Superior, we've got a ton of uh, fishing gear out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll run with 6 or 8 lines or whatever, and so turning isn't the easiest thing when they're out there fishing. And I got us a little too close to a boat.
Mm-hmm. And they're moving slow though, aren't they?
They're going faster than you think they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're yeah.
Yeah. And so like they can't turn then that quickly. Like
No,
you're the one that's gonna have to get
you're
out of
oh
their
yeah,
way.
you have to get out of their way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be like, oh, I don't have time to
Well,
turn
and the
and
funny thing is when we're trolling, we're going really slow. We're going 2 miles an hour,
yeah.
3 miles an hour. So the fact that I got myself that close to the boat was pretty dumb.
Well, if it's very foggy out there and you're in a little boat and you know there's these huge ocean liners coming in, does that make you a little nervous?
No, not really. Just I've learned my lesson of
Okay.
staying away.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Um, so what else do you like to do? So you got the hunting, fishing, you've got a rescue dog. Other hobbies?
I do I do a little bit of art. I mean, I've done art my whole life, but it's I'm trying to get a little bit more back into it. So I do a lot of pencil drawings, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just starting to dabble with watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been kind of my thing for the last couple of weeks.
So do you sit down with an idea in mind of what you want to sketch? Or what are the kinds of things?
Not right now. I have an idea in my head. The whole watercolor thing started with both my girls bought new homes this past year.
Mm.
And so for a housewarming gift, I wanted to draw them their home and do, with
Aw,
watercolor and then frame it and give them each that for a housewarming gift.
that's a great
Um,
housewarming gift.
Thank you. So I've been just dabbling with it, getting a feel for I'm not doing the watercolor with the paintbrush. I got watercolor markers and
Mm-hmm.
so I've been just kind of doodling with that,
Mm-hmm.
just getting a feel for it.
Did they like the gifts?
They haven't gotten them
Oh, well, we better not air this podcast until after they
yet.
get them, right?
I don't care if they hear about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point in our conversation, I want to give you an opportunity to ask me a question. I've been asking you all the questions. Is there anything you want to ask me?
Um, you kind of answered my question this morning at the
Okay.
meet and greet. With
Well,
your description
mm-hmm,
of how you got into this business and
mm-hmm,
your driving force behind that. So, and I appreciated that sentiment, by the way. Having somebody leading the company that believes in the people that they have working for them and willing to share the wealth with them
mm-hmm.
that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I got to see it firsthand when I went to that KKR sale and how big of a deal it is.
Yeah.
So
So what Brian is talking about is the fact that everyone at C&G is awarded equity, without making a cash investment. Everyone has equity in the company. And so as the company gets more valuable, our employees will benefit. And Brian had the opportunity to go see at Minnesota Rubber their payout day, right? The
yeah,
day that the employees got rewarded for all their hard work, and it was inspiring.
yeah, very inspiring. You could literally feel the emotions in the room.
Mhm.
I mean, it was powerful.
Yeah, it makes it real. It brings it to life, right?
Oh,
Because it's
absolutely.
yeah, like some employees, I think it's hard to think about the future and this is worth something to me in the future. But then to see employees that have gone through the journey and have reached that day, I mean, makes you think about that day will come for us too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it'll be an exciting day for all of our employee owners. So we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, exactly.
So, what does a CEO do on her day off?
Ah, a day off. Well, I would say that mentally I'm never disconnected. And not because it's a burden for me. It's not a burden. I love what I do. I love C&G. So many times, even on my day off, I'm thinking about the company or thinking about the employees or thinking about, strategy or directions we could take the company in. But I like that. On my days off, variety of things. I also am into painting, so I like watercolors.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna get more into oils now. They're very different,
Oh, yeah, they're very different.
watercolors and oil paints, but I've been studying a lot of like oil paintings. I really like an impressionist artist like Monet, where when you look at the painting from a distance, you see this amazing, scene, right? Maybe a woman walking with an umbrella on the beach, on a cliff in the distance. But then when you get up really close to the painting, you just see lots of splashes of paint.
Hmm.
So I'm fascinated by that, really intrigued about how do you do that? How do you create all those splashes of paint and then from a distance you're seeing more of a picture develop? I like things like that because I'm totally in the moment when I'm doing that. It's you're not really thinking about anything else other than how to get this idea in your head down on paper,
Right,
artistically.
right. And that's always a tricky thing.
Yeah,
A
it
lot of
is.
times I'll have ideas and I'll start the I'll start the process and the idea will literally change into the
Absolutely.
the completed work is not even what I had in my head at the time.
Not at all. And I think in doing that, when that happens, when you're done, you realize, wow, where was I for the last hour
Right.
or the last 2 hours? Like that time passed and you were so in that moment, you didn't notice the time passing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's the thing with art for me is that I especially pencil drawing because I'm not um I don't have to wait for things to dry
Yes.
or so and there's always the good old eraser.
Yeah.
But I can zone out and start when I start doodling. It's like my mind can just be somewhere else, and
Yes.
it's a great escape.
It is a great escape. You're absolutely right. So the thing with oils, I think it takes more patience. It's going to teach me patience because that's not something I have. It's a lot of patience. But like you said, with oils, you have to kind of wait for it to dry before you go back and put more paint on it. With watercolors, you can kind of just you can keep going because it dries pretty
Right.
quickly, and I'm sure with sketching it's the same.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Brian, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you for sharing a part of your life with us. It's always interesting to uncover more layers with people, and we know a bit more about Brian Cody. So, you continue to inspire. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.